Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Ferris Makes Emulators. This is not CPU fuzzing part 5, would it be? I'm not sure. But I think we're going to do something interesting today. And let me kind of start to explain why. So lately we've been working on setting up sort of a fuzzing framework for the Virtual Boy. And I've been thinking a bit about it. One of the things that actually kind of sucks is our iteration time is pretty low with the current flashcard setup. Now, the flashcard obviously is not at fault here. I think it's fast enough for what it's doing. But it would be great if we could come up with a way to, for example, live reload the code somehow. Spoke with a couple guys at work today about that, and that was a mistake. Let me let you know that. That was a mistake because they got me really excited. So, essentially what I'm thinking to do is instead of building new ROMs all the time, what I think we can do is Virtual Boy has an expansion port here. And at one point, I bought some Teensys with which I could make USB things out of. I originally planned to rip apart one of my non-working units and make a controller adapter. However, I think a better use of one of these things would be to turn that into a serial port and then use that as a debugging interface. So we could load code through it, we could pull results from it, all that kind of stuff. Now, I think I really want to do this. First of all, because I think it's rad. Second of all, and more importantly, because if we're going to be doing a lot of hardware tests, it would be really nice to have just a generalized way to like load and pull code, and also just messages. Like we could almost build a debugger over this as well. And it would just be really helpful to have this kind of framework. And I think we'd be a lot more effective doing the hardware testing moving forward if we have that. So that's what I'm thinking. It's a bit of a long road to get there, particularly because I'm not that familiar with Teensy or this hardware or the transfer protocol. But at the same time, that's all there is, right? It's those three things. And then it basically works, right? Then we have a way to send and receive bytes. And then once we figure out how to run blocks of code with that setup, then we actually have an extremely powerful tool. And then we can do things like run automated tests with it. And I think that would be really great. Now, I didn't want to do this initially because I thought it would be a lot better to be able to run things like regression tests in a completely software environment. But with how slow this iteration process is going when we actually have to load software on the thing, I think it actually makes sense to do some custom hardware, especially because I can open source all of the tools that we built to do that with. So yeah, Dura2, that's exactly the kind of thing that I think we could share with the Virtual Boy community, especially because I want to use Teensy, for example. It should be entirely possible for someone to buy the same hardware and build the same rig. And yeah, I just think that would be really cool. So here's the other reason I kind of want to do this. It's end of November already, and I'm actually going to be on vacation for a few weeks in late December, or actually mid-December through early January. So I was thinking, okay, are we going to get through this by the end of the year, or do I have to think a little more long-term? And even if we start fuzzing and we got through all the instructions, if I think about like, okay, we'll be working on this only on stream for the next couple of weeks. It's a couple hours. We'll get through, let's say we got through 5 instructions for a 2-hour stream. Then we'd get through like 15 instructions by the time I go on vacation. And frankly, I just thought this would be a little more fun. And then we can work on doing things like fuzzing with this framework afterwards. So basically, I'm thinking we probably won't get there by the end of the year anyway. So why not just do the thing that sounds most fun anyway? and it will be really helpful. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe it's a bit of an impulse decision, but boy, would it be rad. And plus, if I ever make a demo on this thing, that would be the perfect environment to have. So what I did before the stream is I just went through the units that I have. I have one defective unit that doesn't seem to start up at all, and I need to look into that at some point. But I also have 3 other working units. One of them I can keep mint and just not worry about. Another one I can keep as a backup. And this one, this is the lucky one. It works for the most part. It has some issues with the ribbon cables connected to the displays, so it has some glitches visually. But that kind of makes it the perfect unit to take apart. So that is why I bought a bunch of these. So that's awesome. I did also discover it uses security bits, but of course my brother is hella rad. And at one point for Christmas, he got me one of these screwdriver bit sets, and one of them totally has the exact bit that we need. So that's also pretty rad. Lucky, yeah, the victim, yeah. We'll see how lucky it was after all this. But then the really cool thing about that is that then we could actually have sort of the ideal setup where, like, I could turn this on sort of at the beginning of the stream, again, hook up some cameras, which I kind of wanted to do anyway, and then just have it sitting somewhere, and then we can, view the output of it on the stream as well. So there's a lot of benefits to doing it this way. And I just think this project has been such a long-term project anyway that it's just really worth investing this kind of time. Plus, I'd be really proud of making this, so I just think that's really cool. By the way, before I forget, hi to guys in the chat. Daru2, Garrett Kelly, Pyro ESP, Alkama. Thank you, by the way, for the sub. I really appreciate that. Daniel Collin, Wister Tobe. By the way, well, I'll get through the names first. Metal Voids, Local Hoster, Love Like Semtex. Good to see you guys. Wister Tobe said, what are the benefits of being a subscriber? For now, it's only you get to feel good about supporting me in my endeavors. You also get the little star by your name. As far as I know, that's all there is. I think I can open up for things like custom emoticons and a couple other things, which I would really like to do. The other thing is that when I run polls on things like, oh, if I want to change which day I'm streaming, I tend to like to prioritize the results from, in the past I did that with Patreon. So there's a little bit of that too. Right now, I don't have that much to offer, gotta be honest. But I am exploring those options, so that could be cool eventually. Local shakes Vista Clouds. If you're a subscriber, they feel it controls if you see ads during the stream. Oh, that's a thing too, I guess. If you're not also a Twitch Prime sub, though, you get ads before and after the stream, which takes 50% of the subscriptions. Yeah, sorry about the ads, but I think they're a pretty small price to pay, especially since I usually have a 5-minute buffer period before I actually start streaming anyway, so that's just going to be something that I think you guys are going to have to live with. Because frankly, it is a lot of work for me to do these streams. I really enjoy it, don't get me wrong, and I love seeing a lot of you guys come back. It's really, really fun for me. But, I mean, on some level, I really should try to capitalize on this stuff that if I'm already doing the work. So I think ads are a pretty small price to pay. But I will say this, actually. If you guys want to subscribe, do consider Patreon as well. Because Patreon takes a smaller cut. So if you have the choice, I would prefer Patreon. But any support is super helpful, and thank you guys so much to you guys who have subscribed. I'm not going to talk too much about that, though, if I don't have to. Just bring it up because people asked about it. Anyway, so there's a few main things that I want to do to actually make this work. By the way, the code I have up here is completely irrelevant. This is actually some code for a homebrew game, because I was also thinking if we want to debug stuff, should actually try and run some homebrew games to see if any of the bugs that we know of will manifest there. Because if a homebrew game has a bug and then we can test on hardware and see that it should work on hardware, but we have a bug in the emulator, then it should be a lot easier since we have the source code to debug some of that stuff. But that was just kind of another tangent my brain went on. The hardware is the stuff I actually want to focus on. Drew2 says you can include top subs in your next demo greets. I actually kind of like that idea. At least if I ever do a Virtual Boy demo, that would make so much sense. Actually, the Virtual Boy README is something that I should consider thanking people in. If they wouldn't mind, I would, of course, ask people before putting their name in anything. Pay to win, yeah. Yeah, I'll intentionally lose a demo compo to you if you pay me. I'll vote for you instead. But yeah. One thing I'm actually really curious about before I even dig into like the software side of this, to be honest, is some of the hardware. The external port on here, it looks kind of like a USB port. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that. This is the controller port, and then above that is sort of the external port, and it's got like an 8-pin kind of connection. Looks a lot like USB, but it has a slightly different form factor. And I'm going to need to solder onto that initially. Now I have a ton of these little like breadboard wires. And I actually love these because they have exposed ends and they're just super easy to work with. So I actually buy a lot of these just to wire up other stuff. So I kind of want to test that initially to see what it would be like to solder to that and then just make a little breakout for that and stick it on a breadboard. Also want to test that for the voltage just to make sure the pinout is what it matches matches what it says in the docs. I probably shouldn't necessarily start with this, but I just kind of want to work with my hands today, so I'm going to do that. Now, the really unfortunate part, actually, is that I don't really know a way that I could make it easy for you guys to see what I'm doing. Actually, wait, screw that. I totally do. Because I totally often put my camera down here when I'm doing Rubik's Cubes. Why don't I do that here while I take this apart? Let's just do that. The other reason I want to do this is because I just want to do more crazy stuff like this on the stream. It's because I think it's ridiculously fun. All right. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger too. I'm actually going to do something here. Ah, dang. So I can't set it up how I wanted to. Let me make another scene here. And then I can just do this. So I'm literally just going to take this thing apart. I'm actually going to pull up a teardown, though. Just so we can see more or less the process before I just dig in. Because that's just useful. Whoop. These teensies are teensy. Oh, WizardTube, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Also, Daniel Collins' reaction. That's a perfect face for that. So first we want to take out the eyepiece. Don't really care about that. All right, so it should just be possible to remove all this. Slash me hugs. uBlock origin? Not sure what you mean, Phil Daddy 69. By the way, I'm totally open to suggestions. Hey, Little Bits. Thanks for the follow, by the way. Or the subscription. Really appreciate that. Hey, you guys are fancy looking now. Look how fancy they look, guys. 1 second, I need to get a receptacle for these screws. Didn't have to go far, because my apartment is totally optimized for this crap. The only annoying thing about this is working around the microphone. Going kind of slow because I don't want to strip these things. So I'm thinking that we start. I want to start by just looking at the hardware and see how feasible it is for me to actually like solder where I need to solder and just do that kind of stuff. Once I figure that out, what I want to do is solder those and just do a little connection tests with a multimeter just to make sure things are what I expect on that end. Just do kind of some of this due diligence stuff. After that, I want to look into the Teensy. I want to look at the software for that, and we need to get some basic, like, essentially set up a USB device that we can read to and write to and read from, which the Teensy is like built for, so that shouldn't be too hard. And then we got to start checking out the serial protocol for the link thing. Yeah, exactly, Dura too. Thanks for the follow. It's just so ingrained in my brain now. Muscle memory. By the way, guys, I will be taking some vacation, like I said, mid-December through early January. I think it's about 3 weeks. I don't plan on streaming during that time, but I might try to do Sunday streams while I'm on the go, but we'll have to see what that looks like because I won't be carrying my normal hardware. The point is to vacate. But what I might do, I'm still looking at the schedule, but I'm taking a couple days off the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th is a Saturday. And during those few days, I might actually work on this kind of stuff. So I might try to make up for the lack of streaming by just streaming a lot during those days. And if I work on something like this, I think that could actually be pretty fun. So we'll see. I'm still looking into it, but that's cool. Oh, no, that's what I was going to say. If you guys have any suggestions for things that I could offer the subscribers, I'm totally up for getting suggestions because I just don't really know what other people do for that either. So yeah, someone suggested things like the Rust Ferris emoticon, which I think is cool, but I want like Logicoma logos and stuff that's a little more personal. I like this ABS on it. That's cute. Versus Tube says hugs. Yes, I will definitely offer hugs. If you guys ever meet me in person, by the way, I'm also a really huggy guy generally, so do not be afraid to take advantage of that. This is kind of cool. I just took off this top plate here. This is where the cartridge slides in. Like this. Connects at the top there. I don't think I needed to take that whole thing off, but there were a couple screws here that I wanted to remove. Now there's a couple, I think there's 5 more screws here. So yeah, Rust emotes seems to be pretty popular choice. But I think that'd be a good idea. I am proud of the fact that we use Rust a lot here. So I would be happy to do that. Rust, Logicoma stuff. You know what would actually be kind of funny, I think, is if I took a bunch of pictures of my face to imitate all the different Twitch emotes that there are. Like, I don't remember the names of all of them, but like Franker Z. No, Franker Z is the dog, right? I don't even know. But what's that one called? Hey, tourist. What's that one that Daniel Collin used earlier? Because it makes me laugh. Like, I really like this one. It's the... I gotta find it. Come on, where is it? PogChamp, that's the one. PogChamp. Yeah, PogChamp and Kappa and stuff. I think it'd be funny if I did my own face for those. Uh-oh. That's not good. Some of these are in there. On the iFixit, they said they dremeled down some of their tools. I'm hoping I wouldn't have to do that. But I will need some pliers to pull this back out. I'm not going to get enough grip with those. About to ruin some wire cutters again. Because I actually don't even own a pair of needle nose pliers, which is really dumb for me. I'm gonna lose a finger if I'm not careful with that. So I tested the other screw holes and they worked fine, but this one is gonna be picky. If I just rotate it enough, it'll come loose. Path of least resistance and whatnot. This will actually present a problem. I'm actually going to look around my apartment for some pliers. Oh, ProgTemp, yeah. So yeah, what happened is I got this bit stuck in this one screw hole, and I can't get it out now. I need pliers. I actually don't own the right kind of pliers for this, which is really dumb. But here's the thing. If I can't get into this today, that's fine, because we can just look at the software side of things, and I can buy some pliers in the next couple days. So I'm not too worried about it. It would just be nice if I could continue with this. But no, I think this is going to be pretty well stuck in there. So I'm going to need to look for a solution for that. Probably have to just buy some tools, which I will do another time. In the meantime, we can start looking at the Teensy stuff. Oh, yeah, you came a little late, didn't you, tourist? Yeah, we're going to make some, like, We're going to make a serial cable out of the link port of the Virtual Boy. Long story short. But we're not going to do that today. Yeah, it's a workout stream. This is the Teensy 2.0, by the way. So it's I bought them because they were 5-volt compatible, or they actually do 5-volt signals as well. The soldering part will be the easy part, I think, as long as I can get in there. Let me make a Slack reminder to buy pliers. I think this is really funny. But that's fine. So we can start looking at the Teensy now. I know this is way more of me than you guys usually see, so apologies. Also, why does my Twitter have 29 notifications? Oh, because it's the Logicoma one. Anyway. Yes, this is the Teensy 2. I bought these a while ago. At least 8 or 9 months ago. Mostly just because I knew they'd be nice to have around for when I just felt like doing one of these. This is a Teensy. Little Ep.049 chip on there. Don't know what kind. But yeah, apparently this works with 5 volts. And I think the serial connector on the Virtual Boy only has like 8 lines, so should be more enough to work with here. Now I don't actually know that much about the Teensy, so this will be kind of exploratory for me as well. Yeah, I actually did open the tab. All right, whoa, whoop, whoop, whoop. That. How fancy is that fade, guys? Whoa! Whoa! Okay. Anyway. That is indeed my device. At Mega32U4. Oh, PogChamp's the best. So yeah, so that's how you connect it. I need to get the download website. Sounds relevant. Oh no, that's this website. Lol. Okay, so we need a loader. Okay, so we'll use WinAVR. That's fine. So it shouldn't actually be that bad. If it's... what? Okay. Is that really the right link? Okay, I don't know if I just clicked something or what. This is what I'm after. Okay, and there's also a portable version, which I actually do want to try. Or not. The German 404, the best kind of 404. Okay. Download. Okay. I don't know what is up with following these links, but okay. So there's just this install here. Let's just go with that. Guys can profile me by the ads that this shows. Hey, it's Cryon. We're gonna use a Teensy to make a serial cable for the Virtual Boy that'll communicate with the link port. Doomsday device, yeah. Sure. I do not want Programmer's Notepad. Oh, it does actually show this. There you go. Watch it install stuff. I like this blue background. It's nostalgic. So I actually don't know how to use this yet. Okay, this would actually be a great place to start. Just to send some debug messages. This is obsolete. Use Teensy Duino for new projects. I don't want to use Teensy Duino. USB serial. That sounds ideal. Because if we just turn this into a serial port, then we can do whatever protocol we need to on top of it. And I think that'd be the best way to do this. Because then we can just implement that sort of standard interface, and then we wouldn't have to touch the Teensy code like at all after that, because we could do everything else in the protocol. And we're going to need to swap out the Virtual Boy software and the PC software anyway. So with this, we'll at least just have a way to send and receive bytes, and then we can do whatever protocol that we want on top of that. Okay, so we will need to set up some hardware stuff here. Shouldn't be too bad. I don't really care if this says it's obsolete as long as it works. So let's just go for it. And I have no idea what these projects will look like either, but we'll figure it out. That's the fun part of it, at least. I don't expect it to be terribly difficult to set this stuff up. Where did that go? USB serial. This is also totally the advantage of just using all this off-the-shelf stuff, by the way. Is that there's actually going to be like examples of how to do this kind of stuff, which is going to be very useful. That's what I need to do on the stream, is make my own pliers. So I always look at the make file first, because it's like, what does this need? So AVR GCC. I'm just going to test to see if it did my path right. Because if it did, I should be able to say AVR GCC and get some error about no input files. Perfect. That is a really good sign. USB serial. Let's just see what happens if I do make. Bam, we got an elf. That is rad, you guys. Oh, I love when stuff just works. That's so satisfying. So I guess if we just took that, I also need to do the driver thing. It does say Windows 7 should work automatically. I'm running Windows 10. I honestly don't suspect. Yeah, okay. It just says Windows 10 USB serial device driver is present. No installation necessary. Great. And then, where was it? The Teensy loader thing? Just try this. I would much rather have a... command line tool for this, but let's just try it. Wouldn't be too bad to just do it through this UI. Open hex file. Well, there is an example.hex file. What is this automatic mode? Let's see what that does. So I'm just going to take my Teensy here. The light's on. Whoa. I pushed the button and driver stuff happened. USB serial COM4 has completed setup. That's fantastic. So do they have... I can't remember how you do this. How you just cat the stuff from the serial or from the COM port. Okay, so here's actually an exe that just does it. Let's try that. What I want to do is write a program that we can send and receive from. But I mean this is the ideal thing, is if we can get like some just bidirectional COM port, because then it should be trivial to write the software that'll communicate with that. And again, we can do our own interface for what we actually show on that. By the way, I think this was just a command line program and it just exits. So let's go ahead and open that a different way. Yeah, we can't just use putty. Where did this go? It does say reading from COM4. Yeah, putty should work. I'll just try it with this first. Just open this example. Yeah, I think this is not the way we do this. So I'm going to download putty. Install this stuff. Again, this is totally a time where I'm just happy to use a bunch of these off-the-shelf parts. Because honestly, I totally expect to be able to just bit bang this from the Teensy. Should not be too hard. So I think I do serial here, and I do COM4, and our speed will be 9600 baud. That's probably fine. All right, here we go. Okay, this is awesome, actually. So now if I do D6 is 0, the light goes off, and if I do, well, D6 is 1, light goes on. This works, you guys. That's so cool. All right. Huge props to PJRC, to AVR GCC, all the layers of software, to putty, all the layers of software that made this just work. That is so sick. I got to admit. Let's do this just to see what it's like to change this, by the way. We'll do this too, just to stick these around here. Now, I don't know what that auto thing does. So I make. Then what do I do? I probably have to reset it. Now we got error reading from the serial device. It's going to be inactive. Duplicate session, does that work? Indeed it does, and there's our string. Sick. That's so sick. Actually, what is this? What does a reset terminal do? Not what I thought it would do. Or maybe it does do that. Put the button to reset terminal. No, it didn't work. But if we do Restart session. There we go. That's what I want to do. If I just do that here. Oh, it didn't give me that option. That's fine. That is so satisfying, you guys. Okay, so that part of this works. That was nice and easy. So yeah, I guess the pliers thing was the only thing I actually need now. It just feels so stupid. What a bummer. But again, super stoked that all this just worked. Actually, though, a pretty good thing that I could do with my time here is solder all these pins to the Teensy. That would probably be a good idea. Because I do want to hook this up on a breadboard just because that'll make this a lot easier. I don't know which port or whatever I'm gonna be using for this. Yeah, that's also a good move, Dinner Colin. Well, I'll actually do that. Look up the extension port. So right off the bat, I'm going to pull up the text scroll because I know that it mentions this. Also, this programmer's manual is probably going to be nice. I'm going to say ext or maybe link port. Right, so this clock select thing. And what's really cool about this is, from what I understand, the link port here is essentially just a shift register, and it will simultaneously shift some data in and out. So I guess it's a pair of shift registers. Yeah, so here's the pins when looking at the socket, which looks about right to me. We have disable link interrupt, not use, clock select, transmit receive, communication status. Really not too bad here. Link interrupts occur after a communication completes. I don't know what a communication is. Let me bump this up for you. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, it's for all that zero pent. I realize I have all the stuff except pliers. It just feels so dumb because I feel like I could have started communicating with this today. This would not have taken that long to solder everything. I feel so stupid. Anyway. So we do get link interrupts. Clock select is used to determine the clock source for communications. One virtual voice system must be configured as master, the other as slave. So what I was thinking about this was to use the Teensy as the master always, because then I can just bit bang and not have to worry about reading. Because reading from an external clock is a lot more annoying than reading when you control the clock. So that should be easier for me. Master will transmit the clock signal, and the slave will listen for it. So we'll do the external clock like this. Setting transmit receive to 1 will initiate a communication between Virtual Boy systems. Both systems must set this bit in order for communication to occur. Additionally, both systems will transmit and receive data simultaneously. Setting this to bit 0 has no effect. It is only used to perform the communication operation. Comm status will be set to 1 during communication and 0 when the link is idle. So the easiest way to do this is just to not use the interrupts. It looks like we can just check this bit after we set it to see if it's busy. And so, yeah, so here we have the transmit data, and here we have the receive data, and so it's a byte at a time, I guess. These 8-bit registers are used to store and retrieve data to be sent and received during a link communication, respectively. Link transmit data must be set prior to transmission, and link receive data should not be read before the communication completes. Yeah, so I'm guessing this is just a couple shift registers and then a clock. Communication status can be determined with link control register. What's the aux one here? Register is not well understood. Optionally sends 1 bit of information between this upon completion of data communication. Yeah, we don't really care about that, do we? So I'm guessing we just, when we initiate the transfer, it's probably just going to clock 8 bits. And that's probably it. Yeah, that's what it's looking like, 8 little bits. I think you're right. That we're going to get the interrupt then. But I think we can just bit bang the status as well. Boy, does this seem easy. And I'm sitting here just fuming that the bit here is stuck. Because I think this would be so easy to use. And I just don't even own a pair of pliers. I'm the worst hacker on the planet right now, you guys. I seriously am so disappointed in myself. But hey, I went for it. This is what's keeping me, by the way. Got stuck in there. It's funny, too, because they mentioned in the iFixit page for this that they actually dremeled down the bits that they had because they couldn't fit in the holes. But I did test this on some of the other screws, and it did reach. Just this one ended up being tighter, I guess. That's so funny. I'm not going to bang it real hard, Pyro ESP. I totally would, except that this is a Virtual Boy, so it has those rotating mirrors, and I really don't want to give this thing too many vibrations. Because I'm a bit worried about the hardware that is fragile in here. That sounds exactly like what this looks like, 8 little bits, which is really nice. Because then it should be like really easy to do transfers with this. And the nice thing is, if it is just a shift register, we could probably bang it pretty fast. Which would be really nice. Honestly, Pyro, I don't know if it is that fragile. I mean, it's fragile enough that I'm not going to hit this really hard. I mean, it might be fine, like, if I did it once or twice, but I just don't want to take the risk. Is really what it is. Hey, Grant. What a perfect time for you to show up. If I just sit here and like screw on it, it'll just come out. Oh, hey, I got it out. I was right. If I just screw on it enough. And a bunch of plastic dust on my fingers, too. Ask a neighbor is actually a pretty good idea. Oh, I just think this is so funny. I feel like such a dweeb, you guys. Yes, Grant, that's what we're doing. Or sorry, did I say Grant? I meant Graham. Jeez, sorry, man. I know you as polynomial. That's what that was. But yes, disassembling the Virtual Boy because I want to use the link port to make a serial interface, so that we can read and write to and from this a lot easier. Since I want to do some like fuzzing tests, that should make it a lot nicer to do those tests. And we could do things like send code and then receive the results without restarting the hardware, which would be really nice, and especially without reflashing to the cartridge, which takes a while. This is the kind of thing I didn't want to do initially, but I just thought it would be really fun. And plus, it should actually be really helpful. Also, due to the fact that I'm using a Teensy to actually do that side of things, this should be really simple. It actually looks like it's simpler than a UART. It looks like it's just a shift register where you just bang out 8 bits. So it should be even simpler than that, which is rad. Although, the thing I'm thinking of now is how am I going to get these other screws off? I don't think I have a drill, but I could buy one. Because I don't want to ruin the bit itself. But the problem is this part here is just too thick to get in there, really, which is why I got stuck. Now, just screwing it back and forth enough kind of made room. So maybe I could just do that, but I think that would not be a very effective use of time. I think drilling out the holes here might be the best option. Especially because I have enough of these Virtual Boys that kind of ruining one of the cases, as long as it's still structurally sound, it's not really a big deal to me. So that's probably the best option, but I don't think... Yeah, I know I don't have a drill. So I'd have to go pick that up too. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. In the meantime. Yeah. But okay, like here's the thing. This is the funny thing. The problem also, Graham, is that it's one of these security bits, and I only have this bit for it. I don't have anything. I probably wouldn't be able to pick one of those up. So that's where we're at. But here's what I think. I think I can start soldering to the Teensy at least, because that would at least save a lot of work for later. Oh, that's a good move. Yeah, I mean, these things are just good to have around anyway, so that would be smart. Actually, wait a minute. Thinking I might have it, but I actually have some Vaseline around the bit. I don't think that'll really work either, just because it's just too small. what I think might actually work though. I don't really have a drill, but I do have this power screwdriver, which is probably a drill enough. And what I might be able to do is just take one of these bits and just like kind of drill it in there until it just removes enough of the plastic. That might actually work. And I'm totally in the mood to try it. On the comp side, yeah, so it... Ryan, exactly. I'm not setting a good example. I'm well aware of that. But sometimes hacking is hacky, you guys. This face is for you, Polynomial. I actually think this will work, you guys. Because the plastic seems soft enough that this might actually work. Yeah, I'm going to try this. I just took this flathead bit that I don't care about and just kind of screw it in there. Yeah, this will definitely work. But I need to get a trash can over here. I like that advice here too. It's so true, Daniel Cullen. This actually reminds me of when I was a lot younger and I used to just take stuff apart and I would do this kind of crap. When I was like 11 or 12. And right now I'm kind of happy nothing changed. Zero pet. That's the problem, guys. You shouldn't tempt me with stuff like that. Where's my compressed air? It's over there. This makes the most adorable noise. You hear that? Oh, I'm a simple guy. Sorry, guys. I just had to share that. Oh, I love how shitty this is. This makes me really happy. I'm actually shocked at how well this is working. This was actually not my worst idea today. Oh, is that one of those nose flutes? These things are horrible. I just can't believe this is actually working. It does not smell good, by the way. And I gotta vacuum when I'm done with this. Oh, I love this. Ah, the slide whistle. Oh, those are so great. By the way, I've totally also been considering getting a soundboard for my streams. With just those ridiculous sound effects. I just think that shit's so funny. Like, for example, imagine if I had a sound effect like that when I got this bit stuck in the Virtual Boy. How much better the stream would have been. Exactly. Sad trombone, laugh track. I think our collective humor is lame enough for me to get away with that. Frankly. This is just super funny that this is actually working. Yeah, hardware is a different beast. Our humor is the best humor. I don't know about that, but I sure enjoy it. This is so dumb, you guys. And now we see the results of not having charged this screwdriver in like 4 years. This thing sure is warm now. Yeah, there too. I've totally been using. There's a clip of me that where I just look into the Virtual Boy for like 30 seconds and then turn to the camera and say, "Guys, this is really cool." And I've been using that as like advertisement for what goes on these streams. I just think it's so funny. Oh, I just love it though. This is the magic of streaming, you guys. Yeah, I also did turn on the mature audience thing. That was mostly because I say bad words sometimes. You know what? I'm so stupid. I don't have a drill, but I totally have a Dremel. And I mentioned that too, didn't I? That's what I should be using. This is so dumb. This stream is absolute trash, you guys. I'll be right back. Yes, exactly, Drew, too. This stream. Yeah, that's why I need a soundboard. I do have a Dremel. I'm not the worst hacker on the planet. I'm just close. Oh, look at all these beautiful bits. Oh, yes. Who knew that I had the thing that I need? Certainly, I didn't know that. So now, how can I do this without starting a fire? That's gonna be the hard part. Oh, fair tourist. That's a pretty good reason not to remind me. Oh, this is so funny to me, you guys. All right. So the other reason why my stream is for a mature audience that I just decided right now, whew, smelly. Is because you should not be following any of my advice on how to do any of this, by the way. All right. I think this is so funny, you guys. That's exactly it, G. Silverland. Don't do anything that I do on these streams ever. It's extremely important for your health and those around you. Your health and the health of those around you, that is. It looks like, though, I should totally be able to make this work. The bits that I have are not ideal size for this, but... looks like they're going to be close enough. Also, you should really wear eye protection when doing this kind of thing. Etc., etc. Yeah, if there's anything that I do, it's definitely I harm myself and those around me. I pride myself in that. All right, let's just see. It's been a long time since I used this, so I'm just going to be really careful here. This is going to work. Yeah, I'm sure it is zero pant. I mean, to be honest, if it's not, I've breathed in plenty already before today. Breathing in 25 to 30-year-old plastic dust is kind of my MO at this point. So I kind of just got to figure out what the best way to approach this is physically. Is that loud, you guys? I can totally like fix the sound or something if it's terrible. But I kind of will have to do this. Like, I don't have a proper shop that I can get the drill bit down. So this is going to be my only way in. If it's not loud, then it's fine. I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, the mic that I have is fairly directional, so. Whew, this is smelly. Don't worry, I won't share that sound again. Even though I think that was really funny. But I need to see if I have a bigger bit than this. It's just taking away just too little. Oh, that's awesome. I know we were talking about neighbors earlier, but I don't think it's me that has weird neighbors. I think it's my neighbors that have weird neighbors. This is also proving to be a bit ineffectual. So, worst case scenario, I still just have to wait and just buy the proper equipment to do this. At least buy the appropriate drill bits to expand these screw holes. And from there, I should just be able to open it up. And that's fine. But I'd rather kind of try to hack it now. As long as I'm not doing anything that'll cause, like, permanent damage. I don't mind. Whew, stinky. You know what I could try too? Is that old screw bit ran by this. I don't think it'll fit. really what this is built for. Yeah, at this point, this is, I think, where I might call it quits. At least trying to do this, because don't really think I have the right bits for this. And the ones that I'm kind of trying to hack with are just not quite doing enough. But I do think this is the right approach, to drill out the holes in the Virtual Boy. And then we should be able to get the screw bit in there. I'm drilling into one of my 4 Virtual Boys, which makes it okay. The reason, to put it as simply as possible, I need to open the thing up, and the screw holes are not wide enough to fit the bit that I have. It just gets stuck, and it's a security bit. So I mean, it may be that I can find just a proper screwdriver that's longer that'll have this bit. I'm gonna doubt that, at least at the local hardware store. So what I'm gonna try to do, I think, is get some drill bits and properly drill into the screw holes here, instead of using these buffing bits, which is the only thing I have currently. I think that'll be fine. That will work. But at least for now, that's as far down that track as I can go. So I'll add some reminders to get that stuff too. Once we're in there, though, it should actually be really easy to get all this Teensy and stuff set up. I really don't expect to spend a lot of time on that, to be honest. Oh yeah, I've seen people do that, Drew, too. Where they heat it up and then can kind of mold it around the screw head. I always thought that was pretty clever. But yeah, in the meantime, I do still want to solder on this, to be honest. Because we will still want to get the pins onto the Teensy. I might even... No, I want the button on top. So it shouldn't be too hard to do that. I think... Yeah, these are also labeled on top, which is nice. VCC should be 5 volts here. I think I'm gonna do that. Let me move some things around, and then we'll get soldering because I really want to make some progress on this today. It'd be really cool if I could sort of get everything done. That all we had to do was just solder to the right stuff, and magic would happen. BRB. So I'm moving some things around. I don't really have my desk set up to be able to optimally do this with audio. By the way, hi Soding. So what I think I'm gonna do is just move my camera over here, so I don't have to like unclamp my mic from my desk and stuff. We'll just do this sort of video only. It's gonna be fine. I mean, just gonna be soldering stuff anyway. So this should reach. That angle's actually awesome. It's propped up on my Super Nintendo. Sorry about that, guys. Thanks for the heads up. It was actually writing a GUI interface in Visual Basic. Yeah, so I'm attaching pitter hens to the Teensy. By the way, the what Pyro said is correct there too. I'm putting solder on the tip in order to both warm up the tip, but also to clean it. And because the thing about soldering is it's all about heat transfer and getting heat in the right places. Like I think people who don't really know how to solder tend to just think it's about transferring the solder, but it's really about getting heat evenly on the two things you want to connect, and the solder just kind of goes towards the heat. And so yeah, so I'm wetting the tip in order to make it a little more conducive and easier to transfer heat to the actual components. Generally, this is turning out pretty well. Also, yeah, thanks for polynomial, because I also forgot the term. But the heat transfer is really the most important thing, because the solder will go where you need it. Like, it'll follow the heat. So if you heat up the right parts, the solder will go where you want it to. Yeah, exactly. So I touch the tip to both the contact and the pin to make sure they're both getting enough heat, and then I just apply solder, and the solder will kind of flow around both those components. That's kind of the key. Yeah, exactly what these guys are saying. You guys got this. I'm also glad you do, because I'm doing all this by habit and kind of forgot a lot of these details. When you do this stuff enough times, you forget about all the whys and just remember the hows. Yeah, totally. 8 little bits. You got to do it crappy before you learn to do it the right way. I learned all this when doing stuff on RC cars when I was in my early teens. And it really is like really easy when you get the heat in the right places. That's kind of the thing. But before you know to do that, it's really hard because you just like sit there wiping solder on stuff and like, why isn't this applying? So it's kind of funny. Exactly, 8 little bits. Great tools for burning your name into the desk. Oh, no, I say polynomials at that first, but yeah, you're both right. The iron I have here is also not great, but it's good enough. The one mistake I kind of made here, though, I don't know if you guys would be able to see this. Actually, you can pretty well. You'll notice that on the sides here, they're a bit kind of fanned out from the center, and that's because of the way that I held them in place before I soldered. I did the last part correctly, where it's more straight. At this point, though, because I did all the joints already, and I think they look okay. I don't think you guys will be able to see that, but I'm probably just gonna bend the pins, to be honest. Oh, I bet they would, though. I hadn't thought about that, Graham. But yeah, it makes sense because you'd buy a lot of the hobbyist parts from where you had them available. So I guess making them compatible with whatever hobby shops sell is going to be pretty smart. I suppose. I'm actually going to go grab my breadboard. Some of you guys will be happy to see this, I think. It's an old Radio Shack breadboard. One of the things about electronics is you just collect a bunch of this stuff over like years. Right now, I'm just actually super stoked that I kept all this stuff. Kind of a dumb thing, though. Because I soldered the tips on the end, I can't actually plug it into the breadboard. Also, before I do anything with this, I should really check the contacts to see if I shorted anything. Also, there's an old at Mega chip on here from like 10 years ago. This meter is so crap. BRB again. So yeah, these end pieces are actually probably going to be a bit annoying. Totally didn't think that through. I could either desolder them, or I could bend them out of like at a 90-degree angle. I'm kind of inclined to do the latter rather than the former, just given the equipment that I have, and I kind of hate desoldering, especially on stuff this small. And at least that would still make the pins usable. So I think I'm going to do that. See you later, 8 little bits. So this should just work as is now. Let me tell you guys, there is something very exciting about plugging something you just hack together like this into a $1,000 computer. But of course, we're fine. Yep. Just so you guys can see. Oops. Yeah, so that works. So what what I'm hoping to do next, after I get the right tools to drill into the Virtual Boy, is we should be able to, if we get all the cover off and everything, then I should have pretty good access to this port here, the EXT port. And what I'm probably going to do is just take some of these breadboard wires and just solder them onto the contacts there, which is going to be fine for now because these cables are pretty hard to get a hold of, at least as far as I know. Maybe they're not, but I have enough of these that it wouldn't matter anyway. It'd be easy to clean off. And then I want to just hook it up to the Teensy and do some bit bang kind of tests on it. And after that, we should be able to get this serial port interface going pretty quickly, actually. Not too worried about that. The bigger issue is actually getting into the case in a way that doesn't totally ruin it. But hopefully with the right drill bits and everything, this actually shouldn't be too terrible. Just got to get the right hardware, which I should be able to do in the next couple days. In an effort to get this done quickly, I may work on this on Saturday just because I think that'd be fun. No promises. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think this was pretty cool. So I'm going to head out now. Thanks, guys, for the fun stream. I know it was kind of a mess, but I think this is fun to do every so often. And yeah, hopefully we should be able to get this up and running pretty quickly. I don't really think this will cause us much problems. And once we have the serial interface, then stuff should actually get pretty fun. But yeah, thanks guys for hanging out, and I will see you next time. Whoop. There we go.